Hello Cowboys Nation, welcome to another video, and without further ado, let's get to another round of news from America's team. Cowboys Jerry Jones facing mounting pressure to take action on Mike McCarthy. Back in January, in the wake of the Cowboys' embarrassing 48-32 loss to the Packers to open the NFL playoffs, on their home field, there appeared to be little chance that coach Mike McCarthy would survive that fiasco. It was not even in the wake of that game, actually. Even by halftime, there was chatter that the game represented a death march for McCarthy's Cowboys career. The reasoning was simple. McCarthy has a team good enough to rack up a 12-5 record in each of the last 3 seasons. Yet he also coached the team to a 1-3 record in the postseason, saddling this group with a reputation for softness when the going gets tough. McCarthy survived, though, as Jerry Jones said he valued the continuity that the coach brings over an abrupt change, even with the playoff flops. Now, though, with the Cowboys reeling after their defense, under new coordinator Mike Zimmer, was throttled in a 44-19 loss to the Saints, the score was not really even that close. Fans and observers around the Cowboys have begun to call for owner Jones to reconsider his stance on McCarthy and fire him before things unravel even more in Dallas. Cowboys were trounced in the running game in Week 2 now. It's hardly a new thing for fans to call for the firing of a coach after a loss. But with McCarthy, the questions are seen in more and more among NFL media, and he appeared to even be weighing in on Jones when he was shown in the owner's box during Sunday's game. As Taylor Mathis, a respected analyst for DraftKings, wrote on Twitter X, "Today is day 1 of my campaign to fire Mike McCarthy. Retweet if you second this motion." One source of frustration is the way the Cowboys, who yielded 243 yards on the ground to the Saints in Week 2, generally fail when they go up against a coach who has worked with 49ers offensive guru Kyle Shanahan. The Saints' Clint Kubiak is the latest example. John Williams, who writes for USA Today's Sooners Wire, shared on Twitter X, "When the Dallas Cowboys fire Mike McCarthy, they better hire someone out of the Shanahan tree." Former coach Rex Ryan, speaking on ESPN's Get Up program on Monday morning, could not believe the Cowboys made no adjustments during the game. "Maybe it's me," Ryan said. "But is it okay to sit back and take an whipping like they did? Shouldn't they bring a safety up off the edge, something to stop the run, something to disrupt the running game? I don't know, why just take a butt kicking? Wouldn't you have that in your bag of tricks?" Mike McCarthy in contract's final year. Jones did weigh firing McCarthy, of course, but in bringing him back, he left McCarthy without a contract extension, essentially with him coaching on a 1-year deal. That's a risky proposition to put a veteran coach into. It's very easy for players to tune in a coach they know is going to be fired in a few months anyway. Assuming the Cowboys are not going to grant McCarthy a surprise in-season extension, especially not at this point, firing him in order to jolt this roster into playing better might make the most sense in the end. But on Sunday, at least, Jones did not appear to be in a hurry to pull the plug on McCarthy. "This is early," he said, via Todd Archer of ESPN. "This is very, very early. And we certainly didn't see it coming. Obviously we've got a lot of room for improvement here." Cowboys 4-time Pro Bowler progressed toward possible Week 3 debut. The Cowboys have a lot to sift through following the Week 2 drubbing the team took at the hands of the Saints, and while the defense was, understandably, the big cause of concern, the fact is that the offense was not much better in the 44-19 blowout. While there is no cavalry on the way to rescue the Cowboys, there is at least one glimmer of hope that might help solve one of the offense's biggest weaknesses, the run game. And that glimmer is veteran Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook could debut versus former team. Cook was signed to the Cowboys practice squad on August 28 and has not been elevated to the 53-man roster yet. Before the game against the Saints, McCarthy suggested that Cook could make his debut this week against the Ravens, because if he did not play in Week 3, it is unlikely the team would squeeze him into the game plan for Week 4, when the Cowboys have a short week, with a Thursday night game. The Ravens happen to be the team that Cook signed with late last year for the playoffs, after he was released by the Jets. There's some question about how effective Cook could yet be, of course, at age 29 and coming off a rough 2023. He is just 1 year removed from a run of 4 seasons in which he topped 1,100 yards rushing with the Vikings, tallying 43 touchdowns in those 4 seasons. He left the Vikings for the Jets last year, but never carved out a role, 67 carries, 214 yards, in New York behind starter Breece Hall, and wound up out of the rotation altogether, eventually being released before joining the Ravens. Cowboys encouraged to sign former Eagles starter immediately. In a September 16 piece for Bleacher Report, NFL writer and expert Matt Holder notes that it was a humbling Week 2 for Mike McCarthy's crew as the Saints jumped out to an early lead and never looked back. That leaves Dallas searching for answers at 1-1 with a matchup against Baltimore next week. He also names a former Philadelphia Eagles player who he says the team should add now. Zach Cunningham could help slow down the running game. In the piece, titled Prioritizing Every Roster's Biggest Weaknesses Before Week 3, Holder suggests adding linebacker Zach Cunningham to the Cowboys roster. He has Cunningham under the Add Now designation. While the Cowboys linebackers played well in Week 1, they struggled to contain Alvin Kamara on Sunday, he stated. Kamara rushed for 115 yards, 5.8 yards per carry, and 4 touchdowns to go along with 65 yards and another score as a receiver. Cunningham could at least help slow down the running game, so he might be worth keeping around on the practice squad, at least as a just-in-case option. Cunningham was selected by the Houston Texans in the second round of the 2017 NFL Draft as the 57th overall pick. The Texans waived Cunningham in December of 2021, and the Tennessee Titans claimed him off waivers that same month. Titans released him in February of 2023, and the Eagles signed Cunningham in August of 2023. He became a free agent in March 2023. What do you think? Leave your opinion in the comments and subscribe to the channel.